up, everyone? Hopefully you're having a great day. It's so beautiful here in North Carolina. But let's get started, you guys. Honestly, let's get started. I'm sorry, I'm trying to adjust that. Let's get started on what are we on? Week 5, okay? Week 5 of our war on debt, you guys. You guys know my story. I've paid off over $50,000 using this system. And I've been able to find the fat in my budget like we talked about last week, getting real, stop going to Target, stop going to Starbucks, stop going to Big Lots, stop blowing my money and really making my money work for me versus me being a slave to my money. Somebody just posted, it was so awesome. It was one of my coach's moms. And, you know, I have to be good stewardess over what the Lord has blessed us with. Thank you, Rita, I think your name is. But thank you for saying that because you're absolutely right. You guys have to be good stewardess over your finances, okay? There is a great scripture. It's Matthew 25, I believe, and it talks about being faithful with the little things. You become ruler over much. So make sure you're being faithful with what is right in front of you. And if you are going out and blowing a bunch of money on stupid stuff, okay, like going into Target, I know moms go into Target and blow money on the dumbest stuff, right? So today what we're going to talk about, you guys, is week 5 is how to live off of 70% of your income. Okay, so you're living off 70%. Not everybody is going to be able to do this right away, and it's totally okay. You don't have to, but this is a goal, all right? When we were in Pastor Toby was talking about the same way, but saying living off of 80%. My mentor, Danny Johnson, taught me to live off of 70%, and not that I necessarily always do a great job, but I'm pretty darn close, you guys. So let's dig in. Remember the things that we have talked about over the last few weeks of how we are, you know, putting your dollar bills into a jar. Someone puts 5 bills in her jar. Gosh, why am I choppy? I'm sorry, you guys. I don't know why this keeps happening to my live videos, but it's a matter of putting money aside. Stop letting that money in your hands, like start using all of it all the time. Like it's not important to do that, you guys. It's more important to use the money you have to live off of, to pay off debt, to get out of credit card debt, student loans. I know people drown in student loans, you guys. And when you're in debt, it causes arguments in your marriage, in your relationships. You have to tell your kids you can't afford stuff. That's a crap life. It's terrible. And we were not born to be slaves to money. We were born to make money work for us. We were born to work. All right? We were born to work. So keep working and let that money be the fruit of your labor, right? Let that money be used in ways where instead you are happy not being a slave to money. All right, so here we go. Last week we talked about your bank statements and highlighting like your bills and all your bills that you have to pay. And then that leftover after groceries, but I had you highlight in a different color with groceries because listen, many times people blow a lot of money at their grocery store. Stop doing it. I swear, stop doing it. Today, I'm going to put a video in underneath this. Hopefully, I can add a YouTube link of going to the grocery store and how to save money at the grocery store. You'll be blown away by the tips. So, those monies that we talked about last week and you highlighted, like, what are your bills, okay? You want to be living off of 70%. If you can aim for that. Many people, you guys, spend 110%. Right? They have so much they're spending money on that they don't even have money for savings because they're blowing it in other places. You're living outside of your means. If you cannot afford to drive a kick-ass car, you shouldn't have a $500 car payment. You know what I mean? Like you shouldn't. You don't have to have the best of the best. If you are in debt, you don't need to be wearing $200 pair of jeans. Okay? If you have a lot of student loans, you shouldn't be going out drinking all the time or blowing it on Starbucks or going to Target. You have to get really focused on paying this debt off, you guys, so that the goal is to live off of 70% of your income. So if you did the exercise last week, you will see how much money goes to your bills and how much money you have left over after grocery shopping and okay, so you break that down. So what happens with the other 30%, okay? If I'm living off of 70, this is the goal. What's happening with that other 30%? Am I just blowing it on Target and Starbucks or alcohol or the bar or movies or, you know, you name it, whatever you blow your money on. Maybe you want a Coach purse. Maybe you need to wear Armani suits. Maybe, I don't know, whatever you blow your money on, like, if you can't afford to pay cash, you probably need to think about it and go home and sleep on it and come back to it the next day. And if you really, really want it, or you really think you need it, then revisit that. But where's that other 30% go? We're going to break it down into 10% increments. Hey girl, 10% increments. So my main focus and the main focus of me sharing this with you is to pay off debt, those student loans. I love when I see people say they just wrote their last check to a student loan. Congratulations, it's freaking awesome. So for me, and I think a lot of people, that main focus should be paying off your debt. 10% goes to your debt. All right, if you have that 30% left over, what are we doing with that 30%? Take 10% of that, put it towards debt. Take the other 10% of that and put it towards savings. And then the other 10% building wealth, whether it's investments, or, whatever. I mean, rentals, investments, 401k. I mean, I don't know. I don't have any of that. Just building wealth. Okay, maybe you're trying to create a safety net for your family, maybe college funds or things like that for your children. Maybe you are just a retirement, like for when you do retire. Whatever it is, you have 3 different spots you're going to be putting this in. In that 70%, that's where my tithing goes in. That's not an extra. My 70% that I live off of, my tithing goes there. And remember, we talked about tithing before, and maybe you don't tithe. 10% is the goal. It's not like you have to tithe 10%. It's the goal. When you start tithing, I swear God is going to give you more. He does, man. He wants us to take care of the poor and the needy and the sick and the women and the children. And when you do that, you see that blessing coming back to you. I saw it this year with taxes. I'm not going to go into it, but I saw it this year of my faithfulness of tithing last year came to fruition this year when we were paying our taxes. So pretty awesome stuff, you guys. And that's it. I know, hey, Jessica, I know that, that might be a little overwhelming, but if you did the exercise last week and highlighting your bank account statement and seeing how much extra money, we call that fat, how much fat you have left over, guess where that fat can go? It can go into your debt. So whatever that fat is, maybe you have $500 in fat. Well, let's say $300, make it easier. $300 in fat. Doesn't mean you go buy new clothes or go get your bikini waxed and hair done. And I mean, girls pay like $200 to get their hair done. That's insane to me. Or go buy whatever. No, that fat needs to be going to your debt. It needs to be going to savings and building wealth in any way you want to build wealth. Okay? That's the goal, you guys. It's not like, oh my gosh, you got to stop and do it now. Make it a goal of yours. If you want to get out of debt, this is how I paid off over $50,000. This is how I get to travel without having to put it all on credit. I mean, I do put it on credit cards and I pay it right off because I like to earn the rewards. Hello, that's smart. I'm getting free money back. But this is how I've learned to live free and make money work for me versus me being a slave to money. If you guys got stuff in your house that you don't use, sell it. Sell it. Kristen, I know you're big on that. Sell your stuff. If you do not use it, sell it. If it's been in your closet for a year, I mean, people might want it. Like Leda has a vanity she doesn't use. I need to sell that thing. That's crazy that we have so much stuff in our house that's sitting around, just sitting there. For what? Honestly, for what? Danny Johnson would say it was an ego. All right. And the ego comes in many shapes and forms, you guys. Don't get wrapped up in that word. It comes in many shapes and forms. We don't need to have all this fancy stuff if we're going in debt because of it. It's a mindset, you guys. And most Americans, remember I said, live paycheck to paycheck. Aren't you sick of being a slave to money? I know I was. And this strategy, these skills, and these principles that I've learned through Danny Johnson's War on Debt, which I will be going back to Danny this weekend in Dallas with my husband. I'm excited to see what I'm going to learn. I look forward to bringing back whatever speaks to my heart this time and bringing it back because we have one more week of the War on Debt. And then that's it. So then I'll go live, I don't know, something else that whatever touches my heart. So I hope you guys have looked at your bank account and found your fat. And from that fat, you're divvying it up to where you can donate, pay off debt, where you can be saving, and where you can be investing your money. All right, you guys, hopefully that gives you some good tips. Peace out.